Okay, in this video we're going to be looking at various things to do with ratio. First of all, starting off with simplest form. Okay, for simplest form, could be cancelled down. They might use words like simplify as well, but very common from looking on Exam Builder, OCR will use this phrase simplest form. So just like a fraction, we are looking for common factors that go both into, in this case, 35 and 50. So they end in a 5 and they end in a 0, which means they're on the 5 times table. So I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I've got 7 to 10. I'm going to look again now. Do these share any other common factors other than 1? No. So I've got my mark. If we look down here, this was a previous question only worth 1 mark, and you can see that you're only having to do 1. Compare that now to this question here, which is 2 marks. Suggests that yes, you could do it in one step by using the highest common factor, but also you'll get a mark if you've simplified it but not fully. So if I show you what that looks like, so obviously get the number out first of all, and then I'm going to start off with dividing these by 10. I know they're both in the 10 times table because they both end in a 0. So we've got 40 to 200. Both of these are even numbers, but what I have just done is I've secured myself 1 mark of the 2 because I have simplified it, just not to its simplest form. So both of these are even, so I'm going to go divide by 2. So half of 4 is 2. Half of 200 is that 100. Again, I'm still on this 1 mark here because I have these as even numbers again, which means I can simplify them again. At this point now, I've got them down to 1 to 50. There isn't any other common factor other than the 1, so now I've secured both my marks. Okay, so we've seen a 1 mark question, a 2 mark question. This one is now a 3 mark question. So as soon as we're seeing that 3 marks, we've got to be thinking why. Okay, and here's the reason for it. We have got units of measure this time, but we have 2 different units of measure. First bit of knowledge I need to be thinking about is 1 kilometre is equal to 1,000 meters. So your first mark is going to come from right in this. I'm going to both to meters because these will be nicer numbers. Otherwise I'm dealing with decimals, so 1.5, 0.6. Then I'd have to get rid of the decimals to then simplify it. So by going to the meters rather than the kilometers, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. This time I'm going to divide, because I've got 2 zeros on both that they end in. These are then in the hundreds times table. So I've secured 1 mark here. Now by dividing both sides by 100, I've then started that simplification process, which has then given me 6 to 15, which has now got me that 2nd mark. And then I'm going to look, right, I've got 3 marks now, so I need that last mark. Both of these are on the 3 times table. 3's into 6 goes twice. Oh, there you are. And 3's into 15 goes 5 times. I'm going to look again, right, the factors are 2, 1 and 2, factors of 5, 1 and 5, so nothing shared other than the 1, so I've now got my 3 marks. Right, we're going to look at sharing the total now. Okay, so the word divide means the same as share. So again, you may see it using either the word divide or share. In this one, I've got 5 and I've got 3, and I need to share out 32. At the minute, I am sharing out 5 to say person A and 3 to person B. That means at the minute I am giving away 8 things in total. But instead of giving away the 8 things in total, it's now saying that I want to share out the 32. I'm now going to use direct proportion by going from the 8 up to the 32, and it's direct proportion because what I do here I need to do to every single value across, and that will just then keep it all equivalent. So to find that number, particularly when you're starting to use bigger numbers, do your biggest number divided by your smallest number. So it gives me 8, 16, 24, 32, which is 4. And now I'm going to look. So now I've got a difference of 4, and I'm going from a small number of 8 up to a bigger number of 32. So I'm multiplying, and I'm going to multiply over here as well. 5 multiplied by 4 gives me 20. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. And if I've done this right, these two numbers should add together to give me 32, which they do. So I've got my 3 marks. Okay, we've now got Adil, Katie and Rebecca share £160 in the ratio of 2 to 5 to 3. So this is where the table is key. So I've got Adil, Katie, and I've got Rebecca. Adil was said first, so she or he gets the 2. Katie was second, so they get the 5. And Rebecca was said third, so she gets the 3. It then says, how much does Rebecca receive? So as my final answer, I just want to be talking about Rebecca, but at the minute, I need to know, again, what my total is, what they are sharing currently. So no different to the last question. This time I've just got 3 people to deal with. So I've got 2, add 5, add 3, gives me 10. So currently they're sharing out £10, but I want to share out £160, which is then getting bigger by a value of 16. Again, to find that value, I've just done my biggest value divided by the smaller value, which gave me the 16. Again, I've gone from a small number to a big number, which is why I'm multiplying. Because this question says how much does Rebecca receive, I'm not going to bother doing Adil or Katie. I might as well just do Rebecca, because I'm not going to get any extra marks. I'm only going to ever get these 2. So I would imagine I'm already on 1 mark here because I'm showing that I need to multiply it by 16. So I'm going to take this over here. Obviously, if it's a calculator, use the calculator. If not, I'm using my column multiplication. 3 6s is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Add the 1, 4. So Rebecca's share is 48. And then in this context, I would then put the pound sign. 2 marks. Right, this next few slides is going to be about other possible types of ratio questions that you might get asked. So this is a sharing question, but not sharing the total. Okay, you're going to use the same concepts as we've just used, but we are only focusing on the values that we are seeing rather than anything to do with the total. So it says here, a bag contains only red, blue and yellow counters in the ratio of 4, 6, 11. So again, I'm stopping. I'm going to do my table at that point. Red was said first, then blue, then yellow. in the ratio of 4 to 6 to 11. So I've dealt with this line here. It says there are 54 blue counters. So on here, 54 in the blue. How many red counters? Well, so how many are red counters? So the yellow, don't really need to worry about, so I'm not going to worry about here. But what I'm going to look at is I'm going to focus on how do I get from 6 to 54. So again, biggest value divided by the smallest value. Okay, and then if we go from a 6 times table, again, if this is a non-calculator, this is one thing that can help you, because you might need it more than once. Just write out your times table. Yeah, and if you know you've got it, you can then just double check, visualizing it, sometimes see it. It's even better when you know your times tables. 48 and then 54. So I'm then looking, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got a difference of 9. Again, I'm going from a small value to a bigger value. So each of these would then need to get 9 times bigger. So exactly the same as sharing a total, but this time I'm just dealing on the ratio part. So then I need to do 9 multiplied by 4, which gives me then 36. Okay, 2 marks. Again, you're going to have 1 mark, I imagine, for this part, and demonstrating that you need to get 9 times bigger for the blue. And again, then final answer. Same question, but this is the second part of the question. So this is then just an extra 1 mark for it. It's saying a bag contains, again, red, blue, yellow counters, 4, 6, 11. There are 54 blue counters. What is the probability that it is yellow? So for this question, we can get rid of this bit. Yes, we could give a bigger fraction, but for this one, we can just think about this one. What we are going to need, because it's talking about probability, we are thinking a fraction. So I need yellow over the total. So I have got, if I look at my ratio again, red was 4, blue was 6, and yellow was 11. So I have got 11 yellows out of, and then my total here would be 6, add 4 is 10, add 11 is 21. So I've got my ratio of, sorry, my fraction even, for the probability as 11 over 21. So yellow over the total. Right, this one, sort of similar to last one, but we're going to need the total, but we are not going to get the total until the final bit, which is this part of the question. So we've got Delilah, Edwin and Freya share some money in a ratio of 5, 7, 8. So again, use that table. Delilah, Edwin, Freya, and 5, 7, 8. Okay, so I've dealt with this first line. Next line then says Freya's share is £1,600. So it's not talking about the total, it's talking about Freya. So I'm going to put underneath here that this is Freya's amount. It says how much did they share, so I'm now looking for a total. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at how am I getting from this 8 to 1,600. So calculator, I would then just put 1,600 divided by 8. If not, I'm going to come to this boss stop method. 8 into 1 doesn't go. Carry the 1 across because I haven't used it. 8 into 16, it's 2. Didn't have any leftovers. 8 into 0, 8 into 0. So I'm getting 200 times bigger. What I could do now is multiply both of these numbers by 200, add it together, or because it's worth 2 marks, if I add these values together here, and I know that I've got to multiply them by 200, so I've got 5, 12, 20, so I've got a total of 20, and then I'm going to multiply these by 20. Just move that multiplication. So I've got 0 multiplied by 0, so on this top line 0, 0 multiplied by 0, 0 multiplied by 2. Going into the tens column, so I put my placeholder, 2 multiplied by 0, 2 multiplied by 0, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. So the total that they share out is £4,000 by the time you've then added your 2 lines together. Right, this is the last type of question that you may ask. So 2 numbers are in a ratio of 5 to 7. The difference between the numbers is 12. So difference between is 12. Work out the 2 numbers. So what we've got here is we have a ratio that has been simplified already, and we've currently got a difference of 2. So I've got 5 bits there, 7 bits there, so I've got a difference of 2. What it wants though is a difference of 12. So the way to do this question, we do the difference that you want divided by the difference that you've currently got, and that will give us our multiplier to then multiply these up. So if we now do this, 5 multiplied by 6 is 30. So in theory now this question should give us then a number that is now 12 bigger. So 7 multiplied by 6 is 42. So we had a difference of 2 here. Now we have a difference of the 12. So when you're looking for the difference, it's the difference you want divided by the difference you've currently got. That number we can then use to multiply up.